Let's talk about Star Trek. Did a video on Lower Decks the other day talking about how everyone hates it. You have practically most of the people on the internet kind of united in how much they don't like Star Trek right now. I've really been reminded of this because over my Twitch, we've been doing watch parties. There's this really cool feature over there where you can do, if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch movies together. It's pretty neat. I wish you could do it on more streaming services, but Amazon owns Twitch, so it makes sense you can do that. But you can watch all the old Star Trek movies. So I've been watching them over there with followers, and it's pretty fun. And we've been watching the old movies. Like I said, we just watched Star Trek 6 last Saturday night, and it's crazy how good that movie is. You know, you watch that movie, and then you go and watch Picard or Lower Decks, and you wonder what happened. What changed? Like, what was that corner that they turned and started doing this? Did it start with the second JJ movie? I don't know. I actually thought that first JJ Abrams movie wasn't bad. That was good popcorn Trek for a mainstream audience. But it went off the rails. The second one wasn't that good. Third one wasn't that good either. And then, we moved to Discovery. Discovery is an absolute mess. Then Picard, and then this. I don't know what happened to Star Trek, and it's really sad to see. Used to be such a great franchise. But anyway, not doing too good. You see the audience score in here, still at 34%. 63% by critics, still somehow managing to make this show fresh. It is not fresh at all. If anything, it's a fresh turd. But it's not just the shows that are doing bad. Paramount has no idea what to do with the movies. They're trying to rack their brains on figuring out how do we make these movies successful again. They don't know what to do. There was supposedly a Quentin Tarantino movie. He's bowed out of that from what I was reading the other day. There was another one with Colin Trevorrow. I think that's been scrapped. They have no idea what to do. Apparently, they're not going to use the Abrams crew, which is a shame because I really liked that crew. You could say what you want about the movies, but I think all of the people that were cast as the roles for the old crew, I think they all looked good. I liked all of them. It's sad to see them get kind of, pushed aside, but oh well. I would just like some good Star Trek movies, to be honest, and I don't know if I don't think they know what to do. I don't think they know what to do. They can't figure it out, and they're trying to figure out what to do here. But the real story here that I want to get to is Star Trek Picard. Terrible show. I watched the first 2 episodes, and I quickly checked out. And it turns out I'm not the only one, despite the show being nominated for 5 Emmy Awards, which I'm sure has to do with the woke direction that they took the show in. By the way, season 2 is going to have Picard dealing with his privilege. Because, well, remember, when he was a white man, he had all kinds of privileges, but now he's an android. If I'm spoiling the show for you, I'm sorry. Don't worry. You're not missing anything. He's an android now. So he will be reconciling with his human privilege or something like that. It's something that no one wants to watch in a Star Trek TV series like this. You could have made this the greatest show, but this is what they did. But anyway, I'm not the only one that checked out on the show. According to Giant Freaking Robot, exclusive, Star Trek Picard lost nearly half its audience before the final. That is terrible. That's really bad. Half its audience gone. I knew the show was doing bad. I knew it was doing bad. A lot of people did. A lot of people talked about it, talked about how everything was kind of falling apart for the show. And it's been confirmed now. This is a disaster for CBS. And keep in mind, they made this show free on YouTube. I think the first 2 episodes were made free on YouTube. So if you had a YouTube account, which most people in the world do, you could get on there and you could watch Star Trek Picard for free. At least the first 2, either the first episode or the first 2, they made a couple for free. And in fact, if you remember, they even had this promo going on where you could get Amazon Prime or not Amazon Prime, but CBS All Access free for a month. You could essentially sign up for CBS All Access for 1 month, watch the show, and then bounce out. You couldn't even get people to do that. The show is an absolute disaster for CBS. And if you can't pull in a massive Star Trek crowd using Sir Patrick Stewart in his, well, I would say other than Professor X, this is truly his most iconic role, Picard, Captain Jean-Luc Picard from The Next Generation. And you can't pull big numbers with that character? I don't know what you do, man. The only other thing you could do is somehow convince William Shatner to come back. And I don't think he would come back for a piece of garbage like this. I don't. This is a complete disaster for CBS. And I really wonder, they have to be wondering what we're going to do. You know, how do they keep that Alex Kurtzman guy around? This guy has ran this series, this franchise into the ground. And he still keeps getting work. They still keep giving him the helm. Hey, whatever you want to do, Alex. And I would have to say, it'd be hard to compare him to Kathleen Kennedy. They're kind of the same person as, she's kind of ran Star Wars into the ground. But at least she's had a win or two under her watch. Like Rogue One, I think, was a pretty good movie. The Mandalorian is a fantastic show. And you could say, well, I don't think she had much to do with those. That's fine. But, I mean, I'm not trying to defend her. I'm just saying, like, at least she's had something. Alex Kurtzman has had nothing. Everything that he's ran has been a disaster, and they keep giving him work. I don't get it. At some point, you would say, hey, we're going to go in another direction, but they stick with him. But anyway, let's take a look at what they have to say here. So, according to our source at CBS, though the premiere episode of Star Trek Picard broke records by recording the biggest number of tune-ins for any CBS All Access show at the time, those numbers quickly fell off. Our source says that by the time the show's final episode aired on March 26th, the number of people watching Star Trek Picard in the United States had fallen by 45%. That is a complete disaster. That's really bad. Half of your audience is like, nope, just dipped out, gone. That's right. Star Trek Picard lost 44% of its initial audience over the course of the show's first 10-episode season. In January of 2020, it was breaking streaming records, and by March, nearly half of its audience had abandoned the show. I don't know. They have two numbers here, 45 and 44. I assume maybe that's a typo. I want to say that's maybe a mistake on their part. We'll say 45 to give them the benefit of the doubt. But it keeps going here. Though CBS doesn't report the number of viewers for their all-access shows, in America, the data is available for the Canadian audience, and those previously reported numbers seem to line up with what our source tells us about the show's American viewership. It was previously reported that though Star Trek Picard was initially viewed by 1.8 million people in Canada, by episode 5, that audience dropped massively by 30% to end up with only 1.3 million still tuned in. And they go on to say that they speculate, because episode 10 didn't have any ratings, that if you take into account what they've got from this source, by the time the series had reached episode 10, it's likely that they also saw about 50% of their audience dip out. This is terrible news, especially off of the Lower Decks announcement. It's like, so Lower Decks is doing bad, and then you find out that, hey, we lost half our audience on Picard with probably the biggest name you could possibly get to come back to do the show again. I don't know what they're going to do. What are they going to do? How do they fix this? I don't know. There's a lot of people out there, I'm sure, are making videos on how to fix this. I'm just blown away by how bad this series did. Because this series, I was excited for this series. I remember when they announced it. I was excited. I made a video like, yeah, Jean-Luc Picard is back. Hell yeah, this is going to be great. I can't wait. And I had a lot of people tell me, well, have you seen Discovery, sir? And I said, yes, I hear it's bad, but I mean, it's Picard. How can they possibly mess this up? And well, they did it, and they did it spectacularly, I guess. If you're gonna go all in, you might as well go all in, and that didn't work out very well for them. Anyway, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? Are you guys shocked? How do we fix this? What is the way to make this work? Give me your suggestions on that in the comments. Also, if you would, throw a like up, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.